Hey everybody, it is Tuesday night and you know what that means. It's time for dinner with Debbie. And this week I have a recipe that I'm excited to share. I actually meant to do this recipe for y'all last week or 2 weeks ago before Labor Day because it's kind of like a grilling weekend. But hey, the weather's still warm. The grills are still working outside, and I'm going to try something tonight that I haven't done before, and I'm a little bit nervous about it because I'm going to try to take y'all outside to my grill with me, and we'll just have to see how it goes. But tonight I am sharing my favorite, absolute favorite, the best marinade for flank steak. Flank steak is a cut of meat that is kind of like a slab. It's got long, like muscle fibers to it, and it can be, it needs to be cooked a certain way in order for it to really bring out its flavors. And like one of the things that I do to it, and I'm sure most people do with it, is marinate it. So I actually have my flank steak. It has been marinating since last night, so it is super marinated. So I want to share with you what the ingredients are for the marinade. It's actually pretty simple. It's a 1/4 cup of low sodium soy sauce, a 1/4 cup of balsamic vinegar, and a 1/2 cup of vegetable oil, and I use canola oil. Hey Jen. So with the canola oil instead of the vegetable oil, I think it's a little bit less, I think those are better fats. There's also 3 tablespoons of honey, and I used a Manuka honey because that's what I had, 4 cloves of minced garlic, and 2 tablespoons of minced fresh ginger. Now, believe it or not, the store I went to, I wasn't going to my regular store. So, I hate when I go to a grocery store that I don't know, because it always takes me twice as long to find everything because, I know where everything is in the store that I go to. But I could not find fresh ginger at the Harris Teeter in Percival to save my life. So let me show you what I got. Now, I've seen these things before, and we'll have to see how, I think working in a marinade, this is going to work just fine. But you can find these in the produce section of your store. Wait, my oven's going off, so hold on a sec. That was annoying me. So what this is like a ginger paste. And so I just squeezed a bunch of this into it. And what I love about doing a marinade like this is that I put everything, I actually mixed it up with a whisk. Oh, and the, before I forget, the last ingredient was 3 scallions that I sliced up really thinly. So after I whisked that all together, I put it into a big Ziploc bag. And as you can see, I've already put my flank steak in here. So this flank steak has been marinating overnight, so it is really well marinated. I would say that you can also do it like the morning of. You could do it, the morning of and do it. So the other thing that I like to serve with a flank steak, we're going to take this out to the grill and grill it. And that will be an adventure because I've never done the video outside before, so I'm not sure how that's going to work. But the other thing that I decided to do with this is a really classic baked potato. And I know that sounds simple, but I think that, in the age of the microwave and other things, I think people have gotten away with what it takes to make a really good baked potato. No, you do not have to wrap them up individually in aluminum foil. I have the best recipe for a baked potato, and it's so simple, but it does take a little bit of, planning in advance because it does need to be in the oven for an hour. So, and it couldn't be any simpler. So I've made 2 baked potatoes. That's why my timer was going off. And it couldn't be any simpler. I always use russet potatoes for baked potatoes. I think there's another time and place for those waxier type potatoes, like the red potatoes and the white potatoes. Those are great for other things, especially like the little smashed ones. I love those. But for a baked potato, for me, nothing beats a great russet potato. And all you have to do is take your potato, you're going to wash it off, you're going to poke it with a fork in a couple of places so it doesn't explode. And then I take a nice olive oil and I rub it all over it, and I kind of rub it in and massage it, because you know what? the skin of the potato is where all the nutrients are. So don't like not eat the skin of the potato. Make the skin of the potato really delicious. And I think making it crispy is what makes it delicious. I like a crispy skin to the potato and a light fluffy on the inside. So the way to get that is to, like I said, rub it with the oil. I use olive oil, and then I liberally coat it with the salt. And sometimes I even use my, sometimes like today I used a regular like kosher salt, but sometimes I will use like what I call the fancy salt, which is like the bigger flakes, like the kind of chefy salt. And I have a few flakes like that. You can see they're big and they're shiny, and you know, they kind of look fancy. So I have those. And then we're going to finish up with what wine I'm drinking. Usually when you're having a red meat, you want to have a red wine, and maybe you'd like to have like a big, bold Cabernet Sauvignon. Tonight I chose a Italian wine because, you know, I love Italian wine, and so I chose an Italian Nebbiolo. And this is from the Langhe region. It's a Nebbiolo. It's 100% Nebbiolo grape. That is a varietal, the Nebbiolo. It's not just like a brand name. And this was made by the Masolino family. You can see it down here. And I actually went and looked up, because it's been a while since I bought that wine. It's been sitting in my cellar. This is a 2018. So I did look up to see, and I think it is a very reasonable price point for an imported wine. This is a DOC wine, which means that there are some regulations. It's not just like a regular like table wine. So, all right, so let's get started. I've got my potatoes. I'm going to pull them out of the oven now. So hold on. Oh yeah, they look really good. Okie dokie, I've got my, so as you can see, baked potatoes, they look really good. They've been in the oven for about an hour, so they can just chill out. So what I'm really worried about is getting you guys outside to the grill. I started the grill earlier, and it should be plenty hot enough. So the thickness of a flank steak is not very thick. So what I personally like I like it to be on the rare side, definitely medium rare. But I understand that some people really want their meat cooked better, or cooked more, or thoroughly, I should say. That's not me. So I've pulled the potatoes out of the oven. They look great. I'm letting them rest. And what I'm doing now is I'm going to take my flank steak, which is here in my big gallon Ziploc. I'm going to pull it out with some tongs. We're going to try to take this outside. So if our internet connection was bad inside, where I have the Wi-Fi, I'm not really sure what it's going to be like outside. But so I'm like taking it out of the bag, letting the marinade kind of drip a little bit, and I am putting it on a big cutting board. And then I will deal with this, getting rid of this marinade later. So I'm just going to seal it up so it doesn't like leak anywhere, and take this whole situation outside. So like I was saying, I have my instant read thermometer, and you know, you want to cook this to the temperature that you like. I know that I personally think that a cut like this really needs to be a little bit more on the rare side. I like it pink. That is more tender, I think, and I think also more flavorful. But you know, everyone has like their own thing, you know, and you know, you be you. So I'm going to go ahead and we're going to see how this works out, because I've never tried to like move the camera before while I'm trying to do this. So I hope I like don't make an idiot out of myself. This is what happens when you don't have a cameraman. So, all right, so we are heading outside. I'm hopefully not going to be tripping over my dog. although she smells meat, so. All right, that was kind of a trick just in itself, opening the door. All right, so here we are outside. And it's going to be raining later, so I'm kind of glad we got this done beforehand. Let me see if I can get this set up so that I can walk away. There we go. All right, so we're here on my back deck. And I've had my grill. So you might notice this is a regular old charcoal grill. I do not like the gas grills. Call me crazy. But I've had this heating. I've had the grills, the charcoal briquettes going. Let me take the lid off. Yeah, that looks really good. So I'm going to go ahead and put our steak right on the grill. There you can see it's going. So this is just a regular old-fashioned like kettle grill. I'm going to put the lid back on. So I don't know if you can hear that, but like the airplanes are like flying overhead because I don't live that far from Dulles Airport. We're about, I don't know, 15 minutes from Dulles, so we do get some airplanes. I don't know if you could hear that or not, but in any case, I'm going to let this go for a little bit. And oh, you know what? The one thing I couldn't carry was my wine. So let's go back in and go get it. I'm going to grab my wire here. One thing I think I need to invest in is one of those like wireless microphones, so I don't have to be like attached. I'm like tethered to the phone. So we'll go back in. So, and of course, I'm going to want to serve a vegetable with this. So what I'm going to end up doing is probably just steaming some broccoli. And in honor of my brother, who is still recuperating in Boston, I'm going to do broccoli like we used to have it when I was a kid, which I actually still like it that way. I'm just going to steam it. And I serve it with mayonnaise on the side, just regular like a dollop of Hellmann's, because if you think about it, Hellmann's mayonnaise is like the poor man's hollandaise sauce. I mean, it is like an egg-based sauce, and it's so delicious. So I'm going to check this meat. So if you guys don't have one of these instant read thermometers, you really need to get one, because like once you open it up, and here's a little probe, it comes on. And it will, you know, give you an instant read to the temperature of your meat, which is, you know, really handy instead of like trying to figure out like how your steak is or what have you. But it's much easier to use one of these doodads. So cheers. One of the things I really like about the Nebbiolo grape is that it is a very full-bodied flavor of a wine, but it has kind of a lighter look. Like it kind of fools you. Like in the glass, it looks lighter in color. It's not like that deep red or purpley red that you see like in a big Cabernet Sauvignon. It almost looks like a Pinot Noir in the glass because it looks lighter, but then it fools you because it's so full-bodied when you taste it. And it smells like, you know, it's like a lot of like red fruit, like cherries and things like that is what you get on the nose. But when you go and taste it, it's just such a great wine. If you've never had a Nebbiolo, I strongly suggest that you give a try. So let me see what this is doing. Yeah, that's getting a nice little crust on it. And move it around a little bit so that I get some better grill marks on it. Like, I am not a fancy grill person. I know there are, and I really admire those fancy grill people with like the, you know, the grill marks and all of that, but you know, it's all I can do to just get the meat on there and get it cooked properly. So it'll take about 15 minutes for this meat to get fully cooked. And so I think what I'll do is go ahead and cut off now and then just bring it back. Now remember, I will have the full list of ingredients for both the baked potato and the flank steak marinade on my full video when we put this together. I hope you guys have a great night, and I look forward to seeing you next week. Oh, I'm not going to give it away, but I'm really excited about what I'm making next week. See you then.